I will discuss with you about passenger flow monitoring and crowd management for smart stations. I hope you can hear me well. Yes, I think so. All right. So Smart Flows is a system that transforms raw undervalued data, such as Wi-Fi, beacon, station maps, train schedule, retail transactions, etc., into actionable data, in insight, basically, that operators can use to make the best decisions for their station and their station network. Our clients use our data to fulfill 4 types of objectives. Well, station operators plan their resources more effectively while distributing and managing the flow of people more efficiently across the space. Passengers are empowered with real-time data on their journey so that they are in control and they are likely, for example, to postpone their trip to a quieter time if there are too many people in the station. Retail and marketing teams dig in the behaviors of each type of passengers to understand the spending habits so that the best choices are made in terms of shopping areas to improve service and maximize rent for the stations themselves. And eventually, station managers monitor densities all over the station to ensure the best health and security conditions. Smart Flows has been in business for the past 10 years, and its expertise focuses on transit places like airports and train stations, among which the references that you can see on the slide right now. The software is in use in various airports across the world under long-term contracts, and in Gares Connexions, which is the French operator of stations here in France. I would like to dig in the Gares Connexions use case with you today. Smart Flows has been working for Gares Connexions since 2016 and is now under a 5-year contract that started in 2019. The software leverages various raw data from Gares Connexions, including Wi-Fi, on the 260 biggest stations in France, and it transforms this data into smart insights so that 700 operatives among SNCF global organization can make smarter decisions. The data is available through Smart Flow's web application that I will show you right now. One of the first objectives of Gares Connexions when starting the project was to support the daily life in station, which is, as you know, hectic since no day happens without a passenger flow issue, whether it is a train being late, a passenger incident, an issue with another station that causes delays in the station I'm managing right now. It all threatens the operations and even the security of the station. So in this feature that you can see here, the station operators monitors the real time, the live flow in the station in general, and in every area of the station. The flow is quantified, it is measured, so that the operators take actions with the best data in their hands. And of course, real time can be assessed as already too late in a way, because in real time, the issue has already happened. While the best opportunity is when you can plan, you can anticipate the situation. This is why the traffic is also forecasted, as you can see here with the blue line that finishes until the end of the day. So you can predict what is going to happen throughout your station in terms of traffic. Looking backwards at what has happened in the past, at the previous situation, is also absolutely key to debrief, to analyze, and to amend the plan for next time. This is the purpose of this feature, which area per area, day per day, or month per month, provides historical data of traffic and dwell time. It also shows the distribution on the lower part of the screen. It shows distribution of passengers between departing, arriving, transferring, and also non-travelers. So that, for example, one can identify the behaviors of those non-travelers that come to the station to shop, to eat, or just to kiss and fly. This data supports planning for a better design by adapting the distribution of flows in the station. And for example, in these Corona times that we're living at the moment, one might want to close some accesses or make them just one way, or even shut some areas of the station that are underused so that they can save some operating costs. I was saying earlier that real time is already too late in a way, and that the best way was to be able to plan and to anticipate a situation. Having a view at the station's network, so the station's network standpoint, gives the opportunity to anticipate issues. Especially, for example, in mass transit, where the station operator do not always know the flow of arriving passenger in their station, so that they would have to put up with that flow. Actually, with this network standpoint, when you identify that there are density in some stations, here, for example, in the Southwest station, especially when it's for departing population, then one can anticipate that this issue will hit the station further along the route. So actions like adjusting the departure time, the arrival time, or obviously the route time in between can be taken to ease the flow further along the route. Smart Flows data supports the production of specific insights that answer a specific question. Here is an example when a major electrical incident happened in Paris Montparnasse, which is one of the biggest stations here in Paris, preventing at the time any train from arriving and leaving the station for a few hours. Passengers had to be reorientated towards Paris Austerlitz station, which is a smaller station here in Paris. So on the left-hand side of the screen, you can see the traffic at Gare d'Austerlitz in orange that increases very highly compared to what would be expected on a classic Thursday, which is the violet line. And on the right-hand side, you can measure the impact on the network. You can see the total, again in orange, you can see the total time passengers needed to get to Tours, to Poitiers, to La Rochelle, to Bordeaux, to Toulouse, which is obviously much longer than on classic days, which is the time in violet, because it takes into consideration the time they needed to get from Montparnasse to Austerlitz, and then the longer route that they took from Austerlitz to their final destination. So this insight, for example, was used by SNCF top management to measure the impact of the incident, and of course to improve the contingency plan in case another event like this one might appear in the future. Since May 2020, SmartFlow's software suite includes a social distancing feature that is meant for health and security purposes. This feature was massively used by SNCF COVID-19 crisis room to manage the safe return of passengers in the station after the end of the first lockdown here in France, and to ensure social distancing ever since. Station operators needed to measure the occupancy in real time to quantify the density issues. Of course, operational staff will always say that they know, they feel, they see what's happening, but actually having a proper objectivity, quantified objectivity, allowed the best decision. So here the passenger densities is measured in each area of the station in real time, on each platform, in the sanitary areas, etc. And the density is also forecasted for the next 30 minutes so that actions can be taken to both answer to crowds and avoid future crowds. Looking at historical data, There is also the need to debrief situation with an incident tracking and a measurement tool. It's about basically, you can't manage what you can't measure. So station management can then adjust signage, alter circulation, for example. And eventually, Gares Connexions management and the crisis room wanted passengers to know that their health and security was in good hands, so that the passengers could trust that going back to stations and travel again was safe. So SNCF as a whole organization communicated massively about the use of the system to reassure passengers that social distancing was applied. And so here on the left-hand side, you will be able to reach, if you get the presentation on the handouts, to reach an extract of a TV report, which was done on May 17th on TF1, which is the first channel here in France. To sum up, SmartFlow's software suite provides live and historical data, as well as passenger flow forecasts. Our clients use the data to support the daily life of operational staff in the station, basing their decision on quantified real-time data. Forecasting resources is also key, because of course it saves budget as much as it prevents crowds from happening. On the long term, SmartFlow's data supports planning for better design by adapting the distribution of flows over the station. And the data also increases revenues by providing the best retail and services offer to each type of passengers. Like commuters have different needs from family traveling on summer holidays, obviously. And so this better match between the retail that is offered and the type of passengers that are in the station improves the passenger experience at the same time as it increases the revenues of the station. And the fifth point eventually is about sharing the data with the passengers so that they feel empowered, and it gives them the best information on their journey so that they can adapt. A passenger might prefer a route that is not the shortest, but that is less crowded in the station that we will depart from, for example. How does it work? Well, SmartFlows transforms location data, such as Wi-Fi, beacon, camera data, into entry to exit journeys throughout the station and the network, with the accuracy of an exhaustive counting system. The solution automatically sorts out passengers between departure, arrival, transit, and non-travelers, national, regional, international passengers. And it also associates, it matches the path with the train, the destination, the carrier that the passenger went on. And eventually it provides a network view all over the stations that have location data and that are included in the software configuration. SmartFlows is a plug-and-play solution that has a proven track record of 10 years with strong references, among which Gares Connexions, which is again a 260 stations that are configured here in France. So choosing SmartFlows, you access a ready-to-use web application that provides the needed information at the right time to all users among the organization very quickly and after a very simple configuration. It obviously monitors the path from end to end and all over the network. The solution is compliant with the strictest international privacy regulation, including the most recent GDPR. And the solution has its own 3 times patented location engine that uses trilateration methods that guarantees that there is an excellent correlation of the data that is provided by the software to reality. So to conclude, we experience that all major station networks have undervalued location data. Whether it is Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, camera, all this already exists. And this data has a very high value. All you need is the right tool to transform it into actionable passenger flow data so that you have basically the power to transform that gold mine into actual jewels that you can use to transform your station into smart hubs.
So what I'd like to do is to bring Philippe back in again and introduce you also to Laurent Papiernik, who is the Chief Information Officer Chief Data Officer for SNCF Gares Connexions.
So what we are doing in Gares Connexions in France, we are building and operating train stations. We got the luck, I would say, to be not only user of train station but also builders of train station, because we have our own architecture bureau, which is called AREP, and which is very good. So what we used to do with measuring the traffic and being able to have in real time data flows and data flows about how many people are going through the station. We do data, we do three things. The first things we do, we try to, at least we did a few months ago, we try to make the shops in the train station being aware of how many people will be there and at what time, so that they can prepare their cashier and prepare their people in the stations and give them advice how to absorb the peak of traffic. But this is very well done nowadays by Smart Flows, which has very good tools to perform that with airports. So that's the first point. What we do is we try to increase the revenue of the shops. The second point is that we try to optimize our operations of train station as far as facility management and building the station is concerned. So obviously, if we got plenty of data on how many people are using this floor or these stairs or these lifts, we can size this place, we can size the environment so that the flow will go through with no problem. So on the one side, we use those measurements to size the spaces. On the other side, we can use the data about people's flow in order to improve maintenance. Maintenance is one of our main jobs. We operate hundreds of stairs, electrical stairs, escalators. We operate hundreds of lifts. So knowing how much they are used allows us to target our maintenance in the places where it's the most used or it's the most required to work. So this is the second topic, improving our operations of train station, maintenance. And the third topic, the third area we use data is how can we measure and give information to people concerning data flow so that we can improve onboarding and offboarding the trains. We can inform applications, web applications or smartphone applications, and we can inform the end user where the flow is the most convenient for him. So this third point is a kind of a smart city business, how to inform people about where to go and where to catch some kind of intermodality services such as bikes and buses and taxis and whatsoever. So all those measurements of flows allows us to improve the business we do with shops, operate at a lower cost our train station and give passengers very useful information in order to make their life easy in train stations.
What your perception is from the, in fact, the operating end of this particular question?
Well, I would say that the smart flow tool has helped us a lot during the pandemic to restart the train circulation in May, and we used to provide special screens, in fact, direct access to smart flow tool to our operating people that were managing the flow in real time. In fact, in the link Marie gave in her presentation, you will see a very interesting video explaining how we did the COVID restart in May, and maybe there will be other restarts, we don't know. But it was very obvious that the Smart Flow tool was one of the two tools they had. The first one they had is a very regular one. They were watching CCTV of the most crowded train station, which is Gare du Nord, the traffic suburbs of Gare du Nord. And it was one of their big screens in the wall. And the other big screen was the Smart Flow tool that lets them explore every train station of the French network in order to find that there were some kind of peaks of traffic. And in fact, they detected some peaks of traffic due to multiple train arrival at the same time, for instance, or other crowded situation. So for us, it was the very first time we could show to the whole company, the big company, our work, because before we were doing that kind of work for only our people and measuring the stairs, measuring the flow in the station, providing the people that do the embarkment, providing them with data in order to give them some figures on how fast they can bring people in the train or out the train if they wanted to have a fast half turn, as we say. Train is arriving and departing as soon as possible. So that is our view. And now we try to expand the use of this tool to other interesting situations. For instance, as I mentioned, shops, and maybe preventive maintenance will be interesting in such a way. If we can measure people, going from the underground level to the street level, we can we can infer the use of the escalator. So if the escalator is very used and very loaded by people, so we can try to provide to have a more dedicated maintenance, more often, more dedicated to special pieces that are solicited by the flow. Well, that's it.
I believe there are many opportunities for, of course, invented or produced for the PRM persons, but many of them might also be very useful for all other passengers, like some sort of guiding where to go, where to find different articles, shops, or tickets, or whatever you look for, some restaurant and before going by train, and you can be also communicating with the system. New information system can give answers either by artificial intelligence or by some person who guides you. So that is one special form of devices produced for PRMs. But most quality measures are actually useful for all passengers. I mean, it's not a special thing for PRMs that the signs should be readable. Everybody needs them. And of course, if the orientation is easy because you can see where to go, there is the entrance to the train, there is the entrance to the square, station square or something. You don't need any signs. But there are many situations where there is really signs, they are necessary. So, and not only for passengers leaving their own station, but a lot of passengers are there for the first time. We should be aware of the situation for persons who have never been there before.
No, because we want them to come back again.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.